They said the Mafia was dead, that the golden age of organized crime ended when the last of the five families fell. But what if I told you, power never dies. It only changes its suit. From the back rooms of Brooklyn to the boardrooms of Manhattan, the same principles, the same bloodlines, the same hunger for control still pulse beneath America's polished surface. Stay till the end, because the truth about who runs America today will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Subscribe, and let's step into the shadows together. After the fall of traditional organized crime in the late 20th century, America thought it had won the war. The FBI paraded mob bosses in handcuffs. Judges declared victory. Headlines screamed that the Mafia was over. But beneath the applause, something darker was growing, smarter, cleaner, and far more powerful. The sons of the old Dons didn't disappear. They adapted. They traded street corners for investment portfolios, drugs for data, muscle for money. While their fathers ruled through fear, they rule through finance. The legacy of the Mafia didn't end with Gotti or Gigante. It evolved, and it's everywhere. Let's rewind. New York, 1985, the commission trial, the government's final blow to the five families. Nearly every major boss was sentenced to decades behind bars. On paper, it was the end. But behind bars, they built something else, a network of influence that reached from prison phones to Wall Street lines. They realized something crucial. Power doesn't depend on presence, it depends on leverage. Take Vincent, the Chin Gigante. While he played the madman in a bathrobe, his underbosses quietly shifted money into real estate and construction firms, all legitimate on paper, all controlled through family connections. By the time Gigante was locked away, the Gigante legacy owned a piece of Manhattan's skyline. Fast forward to the early 2000s, the children of the old families, educated in business schools, not the streets, stepped into new arenas: hedge funds, private equity, tech startups. They weren't extorting stores anymore, they were funding them. One former associate of the Gambino family was caught managing a multi-million-dollar cryptocurrency portfolio, and no one even blinked. Why? Because crime today doesn't wear a leather jacket, it wears a tailored suit. And here's where it gets unsettling. These modern kings don't need to break the law to control the game. They've learned to use the law itself. Lobbying, offshore shell companies, campaign donations. These are the new rackets. Instead of brown envelopes passed under tables, it's wire transfers routed through the Cayman Islands. Instead of bloody warnings, it's contracts, mergers, and influence disguised as strategy. But make no mistake, the core philosophy remains the same. Control the money, control the system. One investigator from the Department of Justice said it best. The Mafia didn't die, it got an MBA. And the proof is everywhere. Construction empires that started as mob fronts now win billion-dollar federal contracts. Luxury casinos with unknown investors trace back to the same syndicates the FBI thought they buried decades ago. Even Hollywood can't escape it. Some of the biggest studios were quietly financed through networks linked to old Sicilian families laundering profits through European distributors. The same people who once ran rackets in Brooklyn are now producing films about the very crimes they committed. You see, what the public doesn't understand is that the American dream and organized crime have always been cousins. Both run on ambition, opportunity, and a willingness to bend the rules. The difference is who gets caught and who gets rich enough to rewrite the rules entirely. Power, after all, never really dies. It just gets better lawyers. So who are the new kings? The evidence points to an alliance, a silent network between old mob money, corporate lobbyists, and tech billionaires. Together, they control influence that stretches from the streets of Vegas to the corridors of Washington. They move billions through investment firms and political donations, shaping laws that keep their empires untouchable. And when one arm is exposed, another grows quietly elsewhere, cleaner, smarter, more untouchable. Consider the case of Project Renaissance, an FBI investigation that linked construction magnates, ex-mob figures, and public officials across 3 states. Billions in government contracts were funneled through shell companies. On paper, all legal. In practice, pure organized manipulation. The scandal barely made the news. Why? Because it didn't look like crime. It looked like business. That's the legacy of America's crime kings. Invisibility. Their grandfathers controlled the docks. They controlled the data. The old dons used bullets. The new ones use algorithms. And as long as money keeps flowing upward, nobody asks questions. But for every empire built on silence, there's always a crack. Whistleblowers, journalists, investigators, people who still believe in the truth. One ex-FBI agent, now retired, said in an interview, "We thought we were fighting criminals. Turns out we were fighting evolution." So, when you hear that the Mafia is dead, remember this. You can't kill a system that built itself into the foundation. You can only trace its shadow, and even then, only if you know where to look. Power never dies. It simply changes form. And in America, it's still wearing a smile, signing contracts, and shaking hands in places where no one dares call it its true name. If you made it this far, you already know this story isn't just about the past. It's about right now. Because somewhere in a glass tower overlooking Wall Street or a penthouse in Miami, the heirs of the old crime lords are still pulling the strings. So hit that subscribe button, and next time we'll go deeper. Because in this world, understanding power means surviving it. And the truth? It's the only thing they can't buy.